Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And it's a pleasure to follow on from so many distinguished speakers this afternoon. And in particular, I'd like to add my agreement to the arguments put forward by my honourable friend for Filton and Bradley Stoke and honourable and gallant friend for Beckenham about the concerns that some of our servicemen seem to be treated more adversely than some suspected and indeed convicted terrorists. And I hope those concerns are heard not only by the government but also by the devolved administrations in Northern Ireland. Mr. Speaker, one of the joys of our roles as Members of Parliament is being able to work with so many community organisations all year round who do so much valuable work for often the most vulnerable people in our societies. And during a public service and volunteering week I held earlier in the autumn, I had the pleasure of spending some time with a range of organisations, including Age UK, the Springboard Centre, Black Country Food Bank, the Dementia Unit and A&E at the volunteers at Russell's Hall Hospital and West Midlands Police. And I think, particularly at Christmas, we obviously value the role that community organisations play, but of course they do this work all year round. It's very difficult to pick out any individual examples above any others, but it would be remiss of me not to highlight the work of Worsley Community Centre in my constituency, led by the formidable Janet Blakeway, and the work that they have done to improve accessibility into the centre. I recently was able to launch their new stair lift, which had been made possible by the work that Janet had been doing, but bringing in local firms, CE Solutions and Handy Care, to do the work for the local community, really transforming the services that are on offer. Now, the buzzword of big society may have now passed into political history, but of course the work that so many unheralded volunteers and community organisations do every day of the week, every week of the year, continues regardless of passing fads in our political lexicon. There are some who argue that in a selfish age in which we're supposed to live, that people are no longer interested in working for a community or giving up their time or supporting good causes. That's certainly not the experience I've had myself with the support for the Macmillan Coffee Morning or the community clean-ups that we've held within Dudley South, which have been extremely well supported by the society, by the community. So I hope that the Deputy Leader will ensure that the government continues to look at how it can make things easier for people to give up their time and for businesses to to donate resources, their skills, to help the communities around them. It's particularly I'm particularly pleased to see a growing number of friends groups supporting our local parks and green spaces, of course, at a time when local authorities are having to look at how and where they're able to dedicate resources. Being able to see communities actually saying these things are important to us, and so going out and taking practical action with our societies. And most recently in Dudley South, the Friends of Cot Lane Park group, which was formed a month or so ago on a wet Wednesday evening, was still attracted 60 people from local estates. That was in response to damage and disruption caused following an unauthorised traveller camp at the park. Now, the Black Country has seen an unusual number of unauthorised traveller camps over the summer and into the early autumn. Now, many of these have been responsible and considerate to local neighbours, but sadly there are some who have behaved really criminally, with disruption, criminal damage and police reports of not only robberies but indeed violent crimes as well. Whilst local authorities, both in my own borough of Dudley and also neighbouring boroughs, have pursued successive magistrates' court orders, of course, those who seek to take advantage of the system know that that means that they've got at least 7 days before they need to worry about it. And so the effect has been that some of the less responsible and less considerate groups have merely gone from one park or play area to the next, and still causing the same damage and disruption at each. So I would hope that the government would look again at both practical questions such as can a provision of land for traveller camps, for authorised traveller camps, can that be pooled so that local authorities can come together to ensure that there's adequate provision across a wider area rather than within a single authority area, but also what time to look at local authorities being able to designate particular land or particular categories of land as designated sites where unauthorised camps would attract criminal penalties and obviously the realities that go with that. Of course, we must always consider the genuine human rights of travelling communities, but those must always be balanced with the legitimate rights of settled communities as well. Speaker, this year I was very pleased that the former Chancellor of the Exchequer was able to announce the enterprise zone in my constituency had been approved. He announced it at the budget in March. We are still waiting for the final approval of the business case, and I hope the Deputy Leader will make inquiries so that we can expect final approval very soon, so that the new jobs, the new investment, and hopefully the increased prosperity can come into my constituency and obviously benefit not only those I represent, but of course those in neighbouring constituencies. And similarly, the extension to the metro network in the West Midlands that the government has signed off on between Wednesbury and Brow Hill in my constituency, that is now going ahead. It's being underwritten by the new West Midlands Combined Authority, meaning it can go ahead sooner than was expected, and I hope that the government will give serious consideration to extending that further onto Stourbridge, so that the tram-link can connect back in with the mainline rail network and enjoy some of the benefits of HS2 connectivity. The final theme I would like to raise before the House adjourns for the Christmas recess is working to ensure that everyone in our communities have the skills and knowledge that they need to succeed. I've been lucky enough to be able to visit every school in my constituency since I was elected last May, and clearly there is much excellent teaching and school management around Dudley and the wider Black Country. Now, it's particularly important that I make that point because my wife has recently returned to the classroom and I know that she's listening, and so it could be a cold Christmas if I forget to emphasise that. As far as my own constituency is concerned, the Invictus Trust and Windsor Academy Trust in particular showing how powerful schools working in partnership to drive up standards can be. However, across the wider Black Country, serious concerns have been raised by Ofsted to the 4 Black Country authorities, and across the 4 Black Country authorities, children are they start below the national average, but sadly they in general slip further behind across key stages 1 to 4. The performance sadly is less good than similar local authorities with similar levels of deprivation elsewhere in the country. And so we really do need to look at how we can make sure that no child is left behind wherever in the country they are. And I think part of this must be that high-performing schools and academy trusts are able to innovate so that we have more diversity and tailored education provision within state schools. Now, the Invictus Trust, which has one school within my constituency, is preparing plans for a specialist secondary school which incorporates part of almost a military-style curriculum together with core EBAC subjects, really targeting those in danger of becoming disengaged with the education system. And I hope that the government will give this serious consideration when that application is submitted. As I said, Mr. Speaker, we do have a lot of talent within our local schools, and I saw it recently when I received a letter from India, Thea and Jasmine from Bellevue Primary about the scourge of modern slavery. This is an issue that I've taken up with ministers. It's an issue that I know the Deputy Leader himself has done a lot of work on in the past, but the quality of that letter and the depth of understanding that they demonstrated not only of the slave trade of the early 19th century, the abolition of slavery in the United States, but also how that affects our communities now, I think was remarkable for primary school children. And finally, Mr. Speaker, you will be aware of some of the talent in my constituents. I hope in the Christmas card that you will have received showcasing the artistic talents, in particular of the 7 finalists, Alex Mayer of Maidensbridge, Lucy Hannon of Maidensbridge, William Hetheridge of the Glyn, Millard of Ashwood Park, Tia Worrell of St Mary's CE, Thomas Pinchas of the Bright and Reggie of Netherton CE School. I'm delighted that not only were those 7 excellent entries able to go on the Christmas card, but into Merry Hill Centre, the large shopping centre in my constituency, was so impressed with the standard of all of the entries that they put them on display so that people doing their last-minute Christmas shopping can see just how many talented artists we have in Dudley South. So I think that's a good point at which to finish, and to wish you again a very Merry Christmas, Mr. Speaker, and best wishes for the new year.
Fiona Bruce.
Thank you.